everybody, and welcome to this video on independent events. In this video, we're going to have a look at what are independent events. So we say two events, A and B, are independent if we have the product of the probabilities, so probability A times probability of B, and we get the intersection. That is when we say that events are independent. That's the mathematical criteria for independent events. But what does it mean for events to be independent or dependent? So what we basically mean for an independent event is that what happens on a previous event does not affect what's going to happen next. So for an example, a coin toss is an example of, well, a series of coin tosses and an example of independent events. If you toss a coin the first time, you can either get a head or a tail. And if you get a head or a tail, it doesn't affect what happens next. So if you get a head or you get a tail, and if you flip the coin again, your probability of getting another head or another tail is still the same. And then if you flip the coin again, the probability of you getting another head and another tail is still the same. So that is an example of an independent event. For a dependent event, what happens in the previous round affects what happens in the next round. So for example, if you think of the weather, and if you think, okay, today is sunny, tomorrow is sunny, the next day is sunny, and then you want to know what's the probability that the day after that will be sunny as well. So the weather normally follows, what happens in the weather previously affects what happened in the previous day would affect the weather what happens today. It's very rare that you have one extremely hot day and all of a sudden it's cold. So it's not like what happens in the previous day is like a gradual change of, would gradually change or be similar to the next day. So in summer, generally, you'd expect the weather to be hot in general, and in winter, you'd expect colder weather. And then as it transitions from seasons, it goes from hot to cold or cold to hot. But what happens on the previous day normally has an impact on what happens the next day. So that is an example of a dependent event where what happened, the probability of one event or a particular event occurring affects the next event occurring. Okay, so that's an interesting concept to wrap your mind across. And what we're going to do is have a look at some examples. So it says, are the following events independent if, and we have these three. So for us to check whether events are independent or not, we check this condition over here. So we need to check if this condition is true. If it is true, then we have an independent event. If it's not true, then the event is dependent. So what I'm going to do over here is calculate the probability of A times the probability of B. So this here is 0.2 times 0.5. And when we get that, it's 0.1. And we can see that the probability of A times B is equal to the probability of A and B. So therefore, these are independent events. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. So we have the probability of A is 0.5. The probability of B is 0.5, and the probability of A and B is 0.45. So we again first start by calculating the product of the probability of A and the probability of B. So in this case, it's 0.5 times 0.5, which is 0.25. And this time we can see it's not equal to the probability of A and B. So the A and B is 0.45. So that means these events are dependent. Okay. For the last one, we have the probability of A times the probability of B to calculate, to check that condition. So here we get 0.06. And the probability of A and B is 0. So that means it's not equal again. So these ones are dependent. Okay, I hope that you have understood this concept of dependent and independent events. If you haven't, tried to watch the video again and make sure you understand this and the criteria that we check for independent events. Please watch our other videos on probability and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.